Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with your Piney podcast. Right, Little Joan? Right, Little Joan? A lot of times on this channel, I say you should write your congressman. And just to show you I did, here's one of the responses I got from my congressman, Donald Norcross. Now, he is a Democrat in the 1st District of New Jersey, where I live. And he has responded to my email regarding elections. Now, you have to fill out a thing where you have to pick a topic, and the topic that was closest to what I was asking about was election reform. So he's responding to election reform. Now, I'm going to read this letter, and you tell me, is he responding to me at all? Now, granted, it's a form letter. Yeah, they got a bunch of these and they're going to put them out, but understand that I think the last election was a pretty big election, right? Right? So you'd think he might have a response fairly specifically to that. But let me read you. See? February 4th. Just got it. Dear Anthony M. DiGerolamo. That's me. Thank you for reaching out to me about your concerns regarding election reform. I appreciate you taking the time to share your thoughts with me on this important issue. As your congressman, I am grateful for the opportunity to respond to you directly. Okay, it's a boilerplate. Good start. In Congress, I am committed to defeating coronavirus. What? And strengthening our economy by focusing on the issues that matter most to working families, growing jobs, and raising wages, ensuring affordable access to high-quality health care and education, and supporting the brave men and women who protect our nation and our neighborhoods. What the hell are you talking about, man? I email you about election reform, and you give me this word salad? I didn't ask you about any of these things. Okay? So don't try to bowl me over with the, do you like mom and apple pie too, Donald? I mean, Jesus, man. So, I could probably chalk that up to, well, he had a form letter and they're just cutting and pasting into it. But, I mean, geez, the last election, you'd think he might have something to say about it. Continuing, I, like you, believe our election system needs to be fixed. Okay, we're back on track here. I have heard from many of my constituents about the need to reform our current process, specifically by restoring the protections of the Voting Rights Act. What? No, that's not what I asked at all. That's not what anybody in the 1st District asked you. No one asked you about the 1965 Voting Rights Act. No one did. Okay? This is like you're responding, I don't know, it's like a straw man argument, except you're responding to like the straw man. It's a straw man response, I guess. I, like you, believe our election system needs to be fixed. I have heard from many of my constituents about the need to reform our current process. That much is true. Specifically by restoring the protections of the Voting Rights Act. Combating partisan gerrymandering. Maybe? And ending the dominance of big money in politics. Which you will never do. Which no politician will ever do. As your member of Congress, I am working to make those reforms a reality. I don't believe you, because you didn't even put that much effort into your form letter. And here's where it just starts to go off the rails. After visiting Selma, Alabama, with my late colleague and civil rights pioneer, Congressman John Lewis, what the hell, man? First off, you're a New Jersey congressman, okay? Why aren't you doing things for New Jersey? You represent South Jersey, District 1. We're one. Number 1, baby. But you got time to go to Alabama? Who paid for that? I am more committed than ever to protecting important progress made since he and other courageous foot soldiers of the voting rights movement crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Dude, it was 56 years ago. I mean, You're acting like this is the most important thing. We just had, in my view, a fairly controversial election where maybe some things happen. Maybe some of your constituents are a little interested in you, for instance, fixing the mail-in voting situation, especially in New Jersey, around Paterson, New Jersey. Oh, but I guess, since it all worked out for your party, I firmly believe the right to vote is the cornerstone of our democracy. I don't believe that. And it must be guaranteed for all citizens. The 2013 Supreme Court decision, Shelby County versus Holder, struck down an integral part of the Voting Rights Act, reversing decades of efforts to ensure fair voting in parts of the country that have suffered from discrimination by invalidating its jurisdictional coverage formula. Yeah, I mean, you must have heard from so many of your constituents about the jurisdictional coverage formula. Bull. This letter is bull. I mean, yeah, it's a form letter, but my God, man, it's tone deaf as hell. I believe that Congress must rise to the challenge presented by the court and correct the coverage formula of the Voting Rights Act. Oh, okay. So now you got to overturn the court. What a shocker. What a shocker that Democrats didn't get their way, and now they're going to legislate their way out of it. That is why I co-sponsored and voted for the Voting Rights Advancement Act, which takes an expansive and comprehensive view of the need to preserve access to the voting booth and will offer more protection to more people in more states. I don't believe you. And I was interested in the state of New Jersey, not every other friggin' state in the union. You're supposed to be doing stuff for South Jersey, District 1. Mail-in voting. Not mentioned. Additionally, I am also deeply concerned about the effect of partisan gerrymandering of congressional districts has on our elections. I don't know why. Your party is in control of that. Perhaps you're upset about it because everybody's leaving major cities now. State legislatures that manipulate district lines to protect one political party are denying equal access to voting rights and subverting the most fundamental principles of the democratic representation. I find it hard to believe that you'll be fighting that against the Democrats. But we'll see, I guess. I believe that independent commissions like New Jersey's Redistricting Commission are best suited to fairly draw congressional districts, and I was happy to see Supreme Court recently reaffirm their constitutionality in Arizona State Legislature versus Arizona Independent Redistricting Commission. I am committed to ensuring that congressional districts are consistent with protections guaranteed by the Voting Rights Act. Seems like you're only concerned about that Voting Rights Act, which you claim everybody's bugging you about, which I gotta imagine no one is. Beyond just protecting access to the voting booth, I believe we must also protect our election process. Okay. I believe First Amendment protections are intended to give people a voice in their government, not to give corporations and a few wealthy donors the right to buy unmatched influence in the elections. What year are you writing this from? How about social media? Where's the social media? Where is the objection to censorship on social media? Oh, that's right. They tend not to censorship people like you. Tend not to censor people like you. Congress in the states, that is why I support the Democracy for All Amendment. Ugh. Could that be more generic title? Which would authorize Congress and the states to set reasonable limits on the raising and spending of money by candidates and others to influence elections. We all know that won't work, and you'll get around it. I also co-sponsored and voted for the People Act. A comprehensive bill that would diminish the influence of big money in our politics, strengthen the integrity of our elections, and promote oversight and ethics enforcement. I don't believe any of this. That's me. That's not the letter. That last part. As your member of Congress, I will continue to work with my colleagues to ensure that every American's right to vote be heard by their government is protected. Again, what about Trump voters? Thank you again for your interest. If you'd like to receive updates on how I'm serving South Jersey, please visit my website. And if I may be assistance to you in the future, please do not hesitate to contact me. Donald Norcross, member of Congress. Well, Donald, I give this letter a D-. This is technically a letter about the election reform, but it's not the election form I was looking for. This just sounds like more virtue signaling. This sounds to me like you're not going to do anything about mail-in voting, things that may or may not have happened during a recent election. Certainly nothing that happened in Paterson, New Jersey. Don't even mention that. So what the F, man? What the F? Is this the kind of form letter you send out? I mean, you could just nerf that second paragraph. In Congress, I'm committed to defeating the beer virus and strengthening our economy. Dude, I didn't ask you any of that. It's sad. It's sad. Look, if you're going to do a form letter, I get it. I get that you didn't actually write this letter to me and that you'll never see this video, but at least put a little more effort into this. Right, Doggy? Even Doggy sees it's a terrible letter. Terrible. But, this is the kind of letters you get back. And they kind of make you angry because it's like no one's really listening to you. But maybe he's calling me right now. Let's see if I can turn that off. There we go. But the thing is, it's important that you write your congressman. It's important to see what they're really thinking about. You can see where Donald's head's at. He's busy virtue signaling. Not doing anything. Not doing anything for me or my vote or, the people in the 1st District. He's running around saying, look at me. I was marching with a civil rights pioneer. Ooh, aren't I woke and wonderful? He's still trying to, be kind of like a normal Democrat, because if you look at his page, he's got the Battleship New Jersey on it, and he's a veteran. So I guess he was one of the normal Democrats, and he's just sort of caught up on it in his wokeness. But I'll tell you right now, Congressman Norcross, the left spares no one. So I have no doubt that you will be pushed out at some point. So you'd be better off throwing in with the Republicans. Because I sure as heck will not be voting for you.